The Philadelphia Eagles just handed away a game they absolutely should have won. And not because the Denver Broncos were unstoppable, but because the Eagles simply couldn't get out of their own way. Mistakes, penalties, miscommunication, you name it, it happened. And when you allow a team like Denver to hang around for 4 quarters, this is the kind of result you get. A brutal loss that leaves a bitter taste, especially because the game was already in Philly's grasp. Let's not sugarcoat it. The Eagles collapsed. They let an 18-point fourth-quarter comeback happen, and it wasn't because of some heroic effort by the Broncos. It was because Philadelphia kept shooting itself in the foot, over and over again. The kind of loss that doesn't just sting in the moment, it lingers. Because there were so many chances to close the door, and each time, they left it cracked open just enough for Denver to sneak through. And honestly, credit to the Eagles players for stepping up post-game and owning it. Multiple guys pointed to the same thing: self-inflicted wounds. That phrase was repeated again and again. False starts, misalignments, missed opportunities. 3 false starts by the offense, 2 of them coming from the same room. That's not pressure from the defense. That's lack of focus. That's internal sloppiness. And that's exactly the kind of thing that turns wins into losses in the NFL. On multiple plays, the Eagles' offense moved the ball with rhythm, only to have it yanked back by a penalty. A big run called back. A deep shot erased. And the momentum? Gone. These aren't just small hiccups. They're drive killers. In a league where possessions matter more than ever, the Eagles threw away far too many chances. Even with all that, they still had a firm grip on the game deep into the second half. That's what makes this loss so frustrating. Offensively, things actually looked sharp at the start. The second drive of the game was a thing of beauty. Saquon Barkley ripped off a 17-yard run that ignited the offense, and from there, Jalen Hurts found a groove. Quick strikes to A.J. Brown, Grant Calcaterra, and Devonta Smith. The drive ended with a red zone field goal, their first time settling for 3 all season, but it was a promising 12-play, 70-yard march. The next possession was even better. Hurts found Brown on a tight window slant. Then, on 3rd and 17, he dropped a dime to Devonta down the sideline for a massive 52-yard gain. 1 pass interference later, Hurts hit Dallas Goedert for the touchdown, and Philly was rolling. Momentum carried into the third quarter. Hurts hit Devonta for 21 yards right out of the gate. And by the way, Devonta Smith was sensational in this one. All week there were reports swirling about frustrations in the Eagles' locker room, particularly from the star receivers. People wondering if A.J. and Smitty were happy with their roles. Well, they came out and answered that loud and clear. Smith had 8 catches for a season-high 114 yards, getting open all over the field. But it wasn't just him. Barkley made his presence felt too, catching a wheel route for a 47-yard touchdown after torching a former Eagle. The real story on that play? Hurts. You could clearly see him adjusting the protection, calling the audible, making that play happen at the line of scrimmage. That's quarterback IQ right there. That's leadership. And in general, Hurts had himself a day, completing 23 of 38 passes for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a passer rating of 100. And if a few more things had gone their way, those numbers could have been even better, which is what makes what followed so frustrating. Let's talk about that missed touchdown to A.J. Brown. After the Barkley score, the Eagles had a real chance to shut the door. Hurts had Brown streaking down the middle of the field, wide open for what would have been a dagger. A touchdown that likely would have put the game out of reach at 24-3. But the timing was off. The ball landed just ahead of him, and on the replay, it's clear A.J. slowed up in the middle of the route. Miscommunication? Maybe. But either way, a massive missed opportunity. Brown admitted after the game that he just didn't think the ball was coming. He looked up, didn't see it, and then by the time it was there, it was too late. That single play didn't lose the Eagles the game, but it was a major swing. One more connection, and the narrative is completely different today. But the snowball had already started rolling. Denver took advantage. The Eagles' defense, which had been solid for 3 quarters, giving up just 3 points and forcing 6 straight punts, finally cracked. The Broncos opened the fourth with a punishing touchdown drive, running all over a Philly defense that suddenly looked out of gas. Then came a second touchdown, and this one hurt even more. Denver hit some big plays through the air, including some tough catches by Cortland Sutton, and then it was Evan Ingram finding the end zone. Suddenly the game was tied, and when the Broncos converted the two-point play, beating rookie Khalil Ringo on the outside, the Eagles were trailing. That two-point conversion ended up being huge. Ringo had some tough moments out there, allowing 4 catches on 6 targets and giving up 3 first downs. He's young, still adjusting, and these kinds of growing pains are going to happen. But that one hurt. And from there, the unraveling continued. Penalties started piling up. On a key drive, the Eagles got hit with a holding call that stalled them out. Then after Denver took the lead, a crucial first down was erased by an illegal man downfield. And then the backbreaker. Hurts found Smith on a beautiful 30-yard throw on 4th and 4, only for it to be wiped away by an illegal shift from Barkley. These are not just mistakes. These are moments that shift games, kill drives, and take the win out of your hands. And once again, the Eagles had done it to themselves. Even when the defense tried to keep them in it, the flags kept coming. A phantom unnecessary roughness call on Zach Bond gave Denver 15 more yards on a 3rd down stop that should have ended the drive. And while he may have arrived a split second late, that's just football. Harvey was still fighting for yards. Bond wasn't malicious, and the contact was minimal. But the refs threw the flag, and the drive continued. Eventually, the defense held and forced a field goal, keeping the game within reach. Hurts had one last chance. He connected on a 24-yard dart to Jahan Dotson, giving the Eagles life. But the very next play, a deep shot to Goddard that could have changed everything, and it looked like blatant pass interference, no flag. Contact all over the route, and nothing from the officials. That moment sucked the life out of the comeback. One final play attempt ended with both Brown and Smith in the same spot, and it ended in chaos, with neither able to make the play. And just like that, the Eagles were no longer undefeated. 4 wins and now 1 loss. And yes, some fans want to point fingers at the refs. And sure, some of those calls were highly questionable. But let's be honest, that's not why they lost this game. The Eagles beat themselves. From the missed touchdown to the penalties, to the offensive breakdowns and sloppy execution. This was a team loss in the truest sense. And now, for the first time in a long while, they're staring adversity right in the face. This locker room hasn't felt a regular season loss since last year against Washington. So now we'll see how they respond. Because the talent is clearly there. The leadership is there. But it's the urgency that needs to show up now. The urgency to correct these mistakes, clean up the execution, and go out Thursday night and get right against the Giants. And that short turnaround could be a blessing. No time to dwell. No time to sit in the frustration. Just get back to work and respond like a team that knows how good it can be. And while Thursday night against the Giants is already looming, the Eagles have plenty of issues to clean up in a very short amount of time. One of the biggest question marks heading into that game is the run game, or more accurately, the complete lack of one. For a team with Saquon Barkley in the backfield, it's honestly shocking to look at the stat sheet and see just 6 carries all game. 6. In a matchup where Philadelphia held the lead for the majority of the night, there is just no excuse for a player like Barkley to be that underused. Look, if the Eagles want to be a pass-heavy team, that's fine. In today's NFL, throwing the ball more is normal, even expected. But there still has to be balance. There still has to be some kind of rhythm between the air and the ground, especially when you have a weapon like Barkley. It's not just about keeping defenses honest. It's about controlling the game, setting the tempo, and grinding out tough yards when it matters. And in this game, they simply didn't do that. The play calling was too one-dimensional. And while Hurts was dealing, there were plenty of moments where a few solid runs could have slowed the game down and helped them protect the lead. And it's not just about the play calls themselves. The run game execution has been underwhelming all season. The offensive line, which has long been a strength of this team, looked shaky. Injuries have played a role. Landon Dickerson exited this game early, and he clearly hasn't been at full strength. The interior push just hasn't been there, and too often, running lanes are either completely clogged or non-existent. This isn't the same dominant unit we're used to seeing in the trenches, and it's showing up not just in the ground game, but in pass protection too. So whether it's personnel, health, scheme, or all of the above, something needs to shift. Because right now, the Eagles aren't able to rely on their run game when they need it, and that's a dangerous position to be in, especially late in games when you're trying to close things out. If you can't run the ball and drain the clock, you're always leaving the door open for a comeback, which is exactly what happened against Denver. Now, in the midst of all this, some late-breaking news has thrown yet another wrench into things. On Monday night, the Eagles released their first estimated injury report of the week ahead of Thursday's clash with the Giants. Since there was no practice, it was based on projections, but one name stood out immediately. Saquon Barkley was listed as a DNP with a knee issue. The initial panic is understandable. If the run game was already struggling with Barkley in the lineup, what does it look like without him? But reports quickly followed that Barkley is just sore and fully intends to play Thursday. Still, it's something worth watching closely. If Barkley is even slightly limited, that puts even more pressure on the passing game and on Hurts to carry the offense again. And while Hurts is certainly capable of doing that, it's not sustainable. No quarterback, no matter how talented, could do it all every week. And that brings us back to coaching. There has to be more intention in how the offense is structured, more commitment to balance, and, frankly, better situational awareness. Against Denver, there were several moments where you could almost feel the Eagles tightening up. A chance to go for the kill. Instead, they played it safe. A third down where the call made no sense for the down and distance. Fourth quarter sequences where the urgency felt misplaced. And while it's easy to point at players for penalties or drops or misreads, coaching decisions are absolutely part of this loss. Whether it was personnel packages, tempo, or just overall game management, the staff didn't have its best day either. That includes the defensive side, too. While they played well for most of the night, when it mattered most, in the fourth quarter, they got gashed. The Broncos scored on 3 straight drives, including 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion that flipped the entire game. The defensive front, which had been dominating early, suddenly couldn't stop the run. And in coverage, young corners like Khalil Ringo got exposed. Now, again, you can't expect a rookie like Ringo to be perfect. He's learning on the fly, thrown into the fire. But Denver knew exactly where to go, and they went after him again and again. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are already echoing through the halls of the NFL after a startling remark from Philadelphia Eagles head coach NICK SIRIANNI. In a recent press moment, Sirianni reportedly made a blunt declaration regarding quarterback Tanner McKee. He doesn't play with me anymore. While the context remains unclear, the statement has sent shockwaves among fans, analysts, and the wider football community alike. Tanner McKee, a player whose career has been carefully observed since his college days, has long been considered a promising talent for the Eagles. Known for his strong arm and poise under pressure, McKee had been seen as a potential future starter. Yet, Sirianni's curt comment now suggests a sudden and dramatic shift in that trajectory. Some insiders hint that the coach's decision may stem from differences in offensive philosophy, while others speculate there could be off-field issues or locker room dynamics influencing the choice. The Eagles, a team with high expectations this season, have often been praised for their quarterback development. But if McKee is indeed being sidelined or even phased out entirely, it could signal a broader shakeup in Philadelphia's offensive plans. Rumors are already swirling about potential trade talks, practice squad moves, or even a complete rethinking of the team's quarterback depth chart. Fans have taken to social media in droves, expressing shock, disappointment, and curiosity over what this could mean for the franchise's future. NFL insiders caution that nothing is set in stone, but the timing of Sirianni's remark raises eyebrows. Could this be a negotiating tactic, a response to behind-the-scenes tension, or the beginning of a larger strategic pivot for the Eagles? Whatever the truth, the murmurs around Tanner McKee's status have ignited a storm of speculation, turning what might have been a quiet offseason into a hotbed of intrigue. As the rumor mill churns, all eyes will remain on Philadelphia. Every practice, every meeting, every sideline interaction is suddenly under scrutiny, with the football world eager to see whether McKee's career with the Eagles has truly reached an unexpected crossroads, or if this is merely the latest chapter in an unfolding saga that could reshape the team's destiny. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.